Hello. How are you all? I'm so glad to be here. It's been quite a day. Have you ever had your dog throw up 9 times, including one that the Roomba got? Not pretty. I'm taking a little Advil. Well, welcome, everyone. It's lovely to see you. It's been quite a day here. I think if you watched my live yesterday, I told you about how my dog ate a whole box of Little Debbie's. I don't think I mentioned the fact that there weren't any wrappers left behind because she ate those too. So she spent the better part of today barfing all of that up. So that was a lot of fun. She's fine, but I don't know that I'll ever be the same. So, anyway, so here we are. Thanks for being here with me today. Let me just tidy up my desk just a teeny bit. I'm mostly ready. So, and I kind of have a headache now. So, yeah. Oh, well, if you know what I mean. Yeah, she does whenever she eats something like she's eaten things out of, oh, my daughter's bathroom garbage. If that paints a picture of what might be in there, that's plastic. She's had to throw up stuff like that, or she has this chew toy thing, and every once in a while she chews on it too much. And it like then she'll have to throw that up and but of course we fed her this morning, not realizing that was a colossally bad idea. I should have known. I'm like, she didn't get sick after eating all that. That's crazy. Oh, yes, she did. So, anyway, well, I hope you guys are ready for a great class. I have some fun projects planned. I have, so I have for our next, I think it's our next live. It's either our next live or our third live. We're going to do a little bit different than we normally do. And that is we're going to do some I would call them one sheet wonders, if you've ever heard of that. And they're going to, so we'll probably actually get more than the 3 layouts because of that, because I think I have 2 of them planned. But it's a way to take, we're going to do 6x6 one sheet wonders. That's one of the things that people, I don't want to say struggle with, but it's a great way to look at how to get the most out of your 6x6 paper. And we have some great 6x6 packs. We've got several in the holiday catalog, and then we've also got the several in the annual catalog. So anyway, it is really a great way to look at your 6x6 paper and get every little bit out of it that you can. So I'm kind of excited about that. And so I think for that, I'm not really going to give you the dimensions ahead of time. More so, I'm going to show you how to cut the sheet up so that you can get everything that you can out of the sheet itself. Does that make sense? So, and I'd have to look and see if I have that is either the next one or our third one. I can't remember, but I thought you guys might like that. It's something that I was kind of looking to do for a while because I thought it was good. And I know I've had a few different times people have asked about how to use your 6x6 paper more efficiently, because sometimes that paper doesn't come out quite right. You know, you cut it and you feel like you waste a lot. And obviously it would work for 12x12 too. But anyway, that is my plan. So I hope you guys will like that. So today we've got some great projects. I suppose I should probably flip the camera before I start making them, huh? So here we go. All right. It sounds like we must be talking about a new grandbaby on here. So sweet. Sorry, I'm just checking out these comments. Oh, Susan must have her new grandbaby. How sweet. Okay. I'm really sad because I think many of you know I am a stamping auntie. My good friend Kelly is a grandma too, and Haley is, we like to think of Haley as our daughter. So anyway, I haven't seen my sweet baby yet though. So anyway, sing her back to sleep. I don't know that I can do that. I could stamp her back to sleep, but I don't know if I could sing her back to sleep. All right. So our first card layout is kind of a different one. It uses strips of DSP. And one of the reasons I like this is because it's great. I'm assuming you guys are like me. You've got lots of little scraps of DSP, so this is a great way to get rid of them. So let me start by folding this, and then I'm going to put the directions in. Now I know, the dimensions, not the directions. I know many, we have several new people this month, and I meant to actually say earlier, when we meet each time, the day before, I will put the dimensions in under the announcements post in the Facebook group. So if you click on announcements, it's usually at the top. You will see the dates and times, and then the dimensions for the project. So I've included that. Every so often I get a little bit of a mix-up, but they're pretty accurate typically. And what I do is then you can cut your cardstock along with me if you would like, and make these layouts. And then what I do is I have a file with all of the layouts from my classes. And when I go to stamp and I get stuck, or I need some inspiration, or just want to figure something out, I come back to one of these layouts, and they are so helpful to get kind of my creative juices flowing and get the card making process going. So what I'm going to start with today is a half a sheet of cardstock, and I always use black as my base and then neutral colors. And then I have this pack of Fly DSP from several years. I had about 3 or 4 packages of it, like partial packages. And so I still am working off of that. But you'd be surprised that DSP goes a long way. So at any rate, I'm going to take and adhere my card here. There we go. Just as soon as I can get my seal going. So I've got 3 3/4 by 5, and then I think this was supposed to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, but it might not be. So we'll quick trim it to that. I think I just grabbed a scrap. Okay. And then we'll adhere that to our. Okay. Then I also have these strips. I've got 6 strips of DSP, and they can be all different or a mix match of things. Not all of them are exactly a 1/2 inch, so that's okay too. You can kind of do whatever works for you, and that is just fine. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm also probably going to trim these because we want the 4-inch ones to be a little, well, I'm going to put one on here. So what I'm going to do is kind of lay one down, and actually I think I'm going to put a little adhesive on the bottom. And this is one where you can kind of play with this a little bit. And then I'm going to place one right here. Obviously this one I'm going to trim a little bit. So we'll maybe bring that to 3 1/4. And I'll stick that right there. And then I'll take and put this one. And what I'm going to do is kind of weave these on. And here too, you can kind of decide what you want. Maybe you want different lengths. Maybe you want them all the exact same size. You know, it's up to you to kind of play with this. And you might not want 6 either, by the way. You might want fewer than 6. So we're just going to weave these in. And then what you can do at the end is you can kind of decide how, I'm going to actually make this one a little skinnier. You can decide how you would like it to go. Okay, but it really helps to start with that first one laid down. Okay, there we go. And then I knew that was going to happen. Let's see, and under here. No, that's right. Oh, I know. There we go. Okay, so now I've got these kind of woven in, and then I'm just going to start adhering them down. So this is a really fun way to get a bunch of patterns of DSP on a card. Like so. And like I said, I like having them different lengths. I feel like I'm going to be a hairstylist here because I'm just going to trim that a little. Okay. What I think I will do is I'll just scooch that and then tack that one down right there. And then likewise, I'll scooch that a little bit and tack it down. Glue dots would work great for this process too. But what I'm just doing is getting a little bit adhered here and there. And then you can also weave them real tight or real loose. So, you know, lots of options and probably a lot of different looks that you can achieve based on all those different options. So just kind of a fun way to do things. And I like, well, I should say I mainly like when they don't line exactly up. I also feel a little bit like I could wash my hands about another 150 times today and it probably would be okay. There we go. And then we'll just adhere these. Now you can add, there we go. So you can add a sentiment here or you can do whatever you would like for that. Okay, so I think actually I'm going to run out of room, so I'll grab a Post-it. Okay. September 2020, live number 1, card number 1. Half a sheet of cardstock, a 3 3/4 by 5 white. I mean, you could do a different color too, it's fine. And then a 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 cardstock, and then 6 pieces of 1/2 inch by about 4 inch DSP or cardstock. You can do cardstock. Actually, I don't think I did any cardstock on my samples, but that is the deal. Okay, so let's look at some kind of ways to do this. So my first one is going to do, I think this is called 'Tis the Season DSP. I cut all these pretty long. So let's just get started with this. I might cut like half of them down quite a bit. It's handy to have your little trimmer here, I won't lie. So maybe I'll cut these to be 3 inches and then these to be 4 inches. Now these ones we could keep all nice and even and see how that looks. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start by adhering just a little bit of this down. And now you can use both sides of the DSP or you can focus on one. It's kind of up to you. Let's see here. It might be kind of fun to have both sides showing. And we'll put that one right there. And let's see. This one right here. And then this is the third side. Oops. That last one's always the trickiest one. Okay. So I'm making these just a little bit uneven because I think that looks kind of nice. And then if they're not exactly perfect, that's okay. So just checking, you guys have been really quiet. It helps if you can pick up those papers though, I'm not gonna lie. And like I said, glue dots are not a half bad idea. Okay, sorry, this keeps moving at me. Now I'm thinking, ooh, I really should have done some of these ahead of time. Oh well. There we go. And the last one. All right, so that looks kind of good. I do like that. Kind of good. Oh, I did have that one down. All right. So now to dress this up a little bit, I die cut the silver bell here. This is the large bell, and we're going to pop this up. Now I wanted to keep all of that holly in there. So I'm going to put some dimensionals kind of running across here to hold all of those pieces together. Now they should stay in place pretty well. And then we'll pop this up on our card. We'll add maybe a couple more dimensionals to this. And then I'm also going to add some of I die cut some of the little sprigs. Now this is all part of this set. So I've got them in both colors. I thought I had one more, but this is fine. And so I wanted to just add these. Let's see. To here. And we'll put these down with glue dots. Okay. And then I think I will also do a little bow on top. All right. We've got some red. This will be really pretty. What might even be better is this red trim. This is the braided linen trim. I think this is actually going to be a little bit nicer. So I'll tie a bow of this. And we'll add this to the top. And, you know, I like to foof my ends. Like so. Okay, now one more touch that I wanted to add are some rhinestones, some red ones. So we're just going to put these on the berries. And isn't that pretty? And one of our little silver dots came out, but that's not a big deal. So isn't that gorgeous with those little rhinestones on there? Okay, let's finish up our card. So I've got this on a piece of shaded spruce cardstock and a piece of crumb cake for my card base. Since you have kind of a lot going on there, it's just fine to keep kind of a basic background, if you will. Cardstock. But you know what? Actually, I think red might be a little better. Yep, I'm digging red better. Okay, so we'll attach those. And then last but not least, of course, we need a sentiment. Now, the stamp set has sentiments, but they don't really fit the space that I've got right here. So I thought I would pick something else. Let's see. Oh, I thought this would fit. It does not. Let's see. What else do I have? This Merry Christmas might be good. Oh, I haven't even used this set yet. Well, goodness. Okay. So we'll do our Merry Christmas in real red ink. There we go. Perfect. So there's our first card. Oh, goodness, that one took longer than I thought it was going to. Oh. All right, for our second card, I've got some fun, bright colors. I have Coastal Cabana, the color that lets us know God loves us, of course. I've got some garden or Granny Apple Green, and then some Pacific Point. And I thought these were kind of fun colors. Now this, of course, you could do with any color combination, or I'm sorry, any kind of what am I trying to say here? Any kind of sentiment, any occasion. Oh my gosh, that was the word I was looking for. Occasion. So these are just strips from my Brights DSP pack, and I'm going to go. I kind of liked cutting them off at 3 and at 4. I just did the whole 6 inches when I cut for this. So here we go. Now I'm going to start by putting this piece down, and I'm going to move it over just a little bit this time. And then we'll add this piece here. And let's see. I'm trying to mix up the patterns a little bit, which this one, let me try this again. Goodness, the struggle's real today. Put that one on top. Woo. And so I've got one of each pattern on each side. Okay. And we'll just kind of one by one tack these down. Now when they're tacked down on one side, like if you get all the ends tacked down on one side, the others stay down a little easier too, which is nice. It just kind of holds things in place. But we do want to make sure they're straight, because if they're crooked, they don't look so good. And we don't want that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And then I was thinking about this happy birthday, but I think that's going to be too big. Oh, well, we could turn it on its side. You don't like that? I might have to switch out my sentiment for this, and that is just fine. Ooh, let's see. Ooh, you know what? I think I used this on our last live, and I really liked it. You Are So Loved. So that's kind of a fun one. And I'm going to use Pacific Point on this. So that looks pretty cute. And of course you could switch this out with a birthday or something fun. And you could even add like a birthday balloon or something like that, or a couple balloons to this. So I'm going to kind of leave it plain, but we can also add some embellishments, and that can look like a couple of things. I've got some resin dots that might be kind of fun. Since we've got kind of a dot theme going, you get some fresh tacky stuff. And I love these resin dots because they are not terribly high, like they're real thin. Of course, I flipped one over. There we go. So isn't that kind of fun? Just adds a little touch. All right, and our last one is really sweet. This is with the plaid DSP. And once again, I used some scraps to get this. Now on this one, I just used one layer of cardstock because I didn't like the look of a contrasting color with this at all. So I just went with the Whisper White on here. And we're going to use, like I said, the plaid tidings. And this has really become one of my favorite and a total go-to pattern for projects, which is really nice. I'll just cut these down a little bit. I don't know why I didn't cut them down to begin with, but let's see. I know I need 3" and 4 on this one. Okay. So I really like this pattern right here. I'm going to have that be in my kind of center. And then I've got this other one. Just working different angles to see how it goes. And on this, you want to be careful with the plaids that you choose so that you don't get anything too crazy. In fact, I think I might do this pattern next just to kind of break it up a little bit. Nope, this one. You really got to think about the weaving. which pattern goes where? Let's see, that one's on top and this one's below. Oh, come on. There we go. I just got to remember which one I glued down first. Okay, and I know I've got this. I kind of wanted to move that. Oh well. I'm trying to keep them a little tighter. There we go. That's what I'm hoping for. All right, and I might also trim this down a little bit on both sides. Oh, I cut it crooked. Oh, sorry, this one's so putsy, you guys. I didn't think it was going to be quite this bad. Had I known that, I would have put some of these together ahead of time. There we go. Trying to make sure these are on straight. Now for the sentiment on this, ooh, I got a little out there. There we go. For the sentiments, I've got from the Autumn Greetings stamp set. I'm going to take a really pretty. I love the writing in this set, and there's a really nice sentiment that says. Actually, I got to stamp it out. That now the $1 million question is, what color of ink should I use for this? I'm thinking Bumblebee, but I want to double check first. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Cajun Craze. Now, Cajun really isn't in there, but I can kind of pick it up in the overlap. Like that. Give thanks with a grateful heart. And then there's also this little, it's almost a border of leaves, and I thought I would add that stamped off right below. And then I also wanted to add to this, I thought about a bow in Bumblebee, but I think that might be too bright. Instead, what I think is the ribbon that kind of goes with this plaid paper. It's called embroidered, I think. Yeah, embroidered ribbon. So I think I'm just going to take and make a bow of this. Now what's kind of cool is this is kind of got a woven pattern to it, just like our layout here. So add this right here. I think it's going to look pretty good. By the way, am I using my fast fuse? Sorry, I still have some fast fuse left. I haven't used up all my stores, but since Seal came out, I've been trying to use so that I can just use Seal. Okay. So we'll just put that on there, kind of like so. And there we go. Okay, done with that one. Our next layout, now this one's a little bit putsy too, but it's pretty cool. If you took my whale done class, this layout in that class, and I really liked it, and I got a lot of really good feedback on this, and actually there was another one that was really kind of fun in that class. So start with, we're going to need a scoring blade in our trimmer. So I've got a layer of 5.5 by 11 inch cardstock, and I'm going to score this at 1 1/4, 3 and 3 3/8. So the 1/8 inch mark before the 1/2 inch line. Okay, then I'm going to flip it around and on the other side do the exact same thing. So 1 1/4 and 3 3/8. And this one is, and here's the 3/8 inch mark for you. This one is one that I did score these ahead of time, so it would be easy for you guys. So you're gonna fold on the score lines that we scored and burnish them nicely to get a good crisp crease. And you can kind of help this along if you want by adhering these down. But first we're going to adhere our DSP. So we need 2 pieces that are about, I can't remember if I put 2 or 1 7/8 inch in the dimensions, but basically either one will work. It just, if you do the slightly lower, the 1 7/8, it fits just a little easier in here. But you want it to have that real skinny border. Okay, and then it's going to go like that. And we're going to do the same over here. Then you also need 2 pieces that are 1 1/8. So then now here, if you want, you can adhere these back or you can leave them as is. On this one, we need 2 pieces that are 1 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we're going to adhere them right here. Now, you could optionally do 2 more pieces, as in 4 total, of the larger piece of DSP and put 1 right there, but that's optional. You don't have to do that. Okay, so there's that. Now, we also need, and I cut this for my sample piece here. We also need a piece of cardstock that is 2 7/8. Let's see, 3 inches square of solid cardstock, and then a square that is 2 7/8. I don't know if that's the right size. Let me grab another piece. I'll do this pattern. So 2 7/8 inch square. And then a piece of 2 1/2 inch square. Okay. So we'll write for you. Don't worry. Oh, and then one more piece. Sorry. I struggle. And we're going to pop that one up. One more piece is going to be one by, honestly, it doesn't really matter. You can do 1 by 9 at least, or you can do 1 by 11. And here's why I say that. 1 by 9 is kind of what you need for the minimum. But then 1 by 11, when you cut this piece, you've got this piece left over when you cut your card base. So you can just cut the full length, and that's easy to do. Or you can cut it to 9 inches. It's kind of your preference. Okay. Ooh, that might have been a little crooked. But that's okay, because we're going to cover most of this up anyway. All right. Now this creates the belly band. So this is going to go around your card like so. And I'm just going to wrap this around. And you want it tight enough that it holds, it stays onto the card, but not too tight that you can't get it on and off with a certain, a fair amount of ease. Okay, so we'll put it on there like that, and then you can see we cover that up. And I'm going to actually put this on with Seal Plus because it's just a little stickier. You could also pop it up and put it on our card like that. Okay, so that's everything. Let's write all of that down. Okay, so first off, we're going to do a 5.5 by 11. Oh, and this is number 2020 live number 1 card 2. And then you're going to score at 1 1/4 and 3 3/8 on both ends. Okay, and then we need a 3-inch square piece of cardstock, a 2 7/8 inch square piece of DSP, a 2.5 inch piece square of white, 2 pieces of 1 1/8 by 5 3/8 DSP, 2 pieces of 2. Actually, I like 1 7/8 better. 1 7/8 by 5 3/8 DSP, and then a 1 by 9 inch piece of cardstock. Oh my goodness, that was a whole bunch of different dimensions, wasn't it? Okay, so let's make these babies. And I really like mine. So my first one, I've got the pieces of card. I've got this all scored and done ahead of time. I've got my layers, so let's start putting these together. I'm using the Flowers for Every Season DSP, which is just very, very pretty. I've got 2 beautiful pieces of DSP here. And then I have 2 pieces of of kind of the yellow to go on the outside, so everything coordinates. And the fun part about this is choosing which paper goes where, because they're so beautiful. You can kind of do different things with this. And then I also got my cardstock, touched one of my stamps for the next card. We're going to do a poinsettia one next. And so I was kind of bummed, but then I remembered I pretty much cover it all up, so now you can't even really tell it's there, so that's good. So look at that. So cute. This is fun to have a nice kind of surprise on the inside. I've got my my white panel here, and I'll just fold that over. Okay, and I'm going to seal for this. Get things back on track here. And I would probably go with the 11 inches rather than the 9, just because it's a little easier. Okay, and then we'll put this right here. I'm gonna pop these up. So, and then here is my white for my sentiment. Now for this, I was going to take my Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set and stamp my pretty sunflower on top, and then add my sentiment. So I wanted to use Blushing Brides. That's kind of the pink in the background there. But I thought I would stamp it off like that. And oh, yes, that looks so pretty. And then I think I'm actually going to do my sentiment on top in Poppy Parade. That is the red that coordinates with this. And I'll go right over the top in that. It's just pretty. Okay. So we'll put that on. Oh, so pretty. Why is my seal giving me so much trouble today? I'll put that right there. And we're going to embellish with a couple of rhinestones. Ooh, actually, change of plans. Well, no, we're going to use rhinestones. All right. I think that's good. Oh, isn't that one pretty? Okay. Next up, I mentioned poinsettias. So I've got this card base is going to be crumb cake. And we're going to do this beautiful poinsettia paper. So I've got my 2 patterns. Oh. Andy? My dog is throwing up.
Is that what that is?
Again. Is Andy here?
I can go check. I can go take care of it.
Would you just bring her upstairs, and there's a gate, you know, on the back hallway?
Oh, put it at home.
Yes. The fun just never, ever, ever ends, does it? And here we go. Okay. There we go. We're going to put this around the edge. Some days it's just better to go back to bed. I really just think that I would have been better off today not getting up. Do you ever have days like that? Oh my goodness. Okay, so there we go. Now, I took this pattern for this portion. Right here. And then we'll put that on here like so. Popped up. And then I also die cut. I stamped and die cut some of the poinsettias and the leaves. Now I die cut, originally I wanted to do my leaves in that pattern paper, but then I thought it might be too much. So I also did them in plain paper, and we'll see which ones we end up using. Yeah, I think the plain is better. Thank you.
I'm not the alpha dog, obviously.
Well,
She didn't want to listen to me.
she's been locked up for a while, so she wasn't probably real happy to go back. She's barfed 9 times today.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Because while we were going to visit Ella, she ate an entire box of Little Debbie Nutty Bars, wrappers and all. Sorry, my assistant Whitney just came in.
Oh,
Yeah.
get a dog, they said. It'll be fun.
Yes, they sure did. Okay, so now on here, I was actually thinking what might be kind of pretty is if we did the faux suede technique on the leaves, the holly leaves. So this is just old olive cardstock. And then we'll pull that apart. Oh yes, that's so pretty. And we'll do the same thing over here. I just love this poinsettia suite. This is going to be a class that I do next month. I just couldn't bring myself to do Christmas this month. the struggle was too much. Okay, so I am going to just put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this. Ooh, why can I put my Seal Plus away? I don't want that. So I've got some there. Nice about this is you can, of course, use both sides. So if you wanted, you could use the other side as well. But isn't that pretty? Now let's do one more amazing touch. And for that, I'm going to take some of my enamel dots and just put a couple. These are the bumblebee. Kind of coordinates with the ones, with the little dots that you see in the printed paper in the centers. Isn't that pretty? Dun, 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 dun. And then on the inside, of course, we can stamp our sentiment, which, let's see. Remember, this was stuck to something a minute ago. What did it get stuck to? Haha. I found it. So our sentiment is may magic and wonder bloom this holiday. So we'll stamp that in some soft suede ink. And I can also add my poinsettia here on the top. Oh, and I got some ink on there. Darn it all. Like so. That looks pretty. Let's see if I get rid of that a little bit with my magic eraser. Or not. This isn't actually a magic eraser. It kind of is, but it's not called that. Yeah, that didn't go over so hot, but better than it was. Okay, so that is our gorgeous card. Isn't that pretty? I saw someone said they loved this card. That is awesome. That makes me happy. Okay, and by the way, if your belly band is off kilter, it definitely affects the opening of this. So there's our second card. Now our third card is also really pretty. This time I'm going to use I think this is called Feels Like Frost DSP. That was a carryover from last year's holiday catalog. And if you recall, it's got kind of silver patterns on one side and then actual photography of winter scenes on the other side. So it's gorgeous, gorgeous paper. Now I have cut 2 pieces and you can see the pattern kind of continues. Now I debated you could put that here or on the inside. So it's really up to you. But we're going to add those pieces and then silver pieces as well. And I must have ink on me somewhere because I'm getting it on other stuff. I hate when that happens. Okay. So we'll just get our pieces layered in here. And once you've got the pieces cut and scored, these do come together pretty quickly, actually. The tricky part is, oh, this is not cut to the right length. One moment. So we want that to be 5 3/8. There we go. There's one and there's the other. Now, because I put this silver design and noticed the pattern kind of, is continuous, I decided for this portion, I would carry on this same pattern here. And I thought that would be pretty. I've got it layered on a piece of silver foil paper. Now I went with a slightly larger piece of DSP because I just really wanted that pattern to show. So this is a 3-inch, actually I think it's 3 1/4. And then my silver is 3 3/8 inch square. So it's just a little bit bigger. And then we'll put this around with our belly band. And again, it's just a pretty design. To highlight. And oh, I'm folding that crooked. There we go. It's a little better. I like using the Seal Plus just to hold that flap together because it's really strong stuff. Okay, now on this, I wanted to stamp my sentiment, and I'm grabbing, sorry, I had to get up and reach. I'm grabbing this one, which says peace and happiness, and I thought this would be kind of perfect. This is the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set, and that came out last year as well. But I thought this would be really nice, and I think I might actually stamp this on a little scrap of white so that it shows up nicely. And I'll stamp that in Highland Heather to kind of coordinate with everything. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Let's see. Okay, and one last thing. I'm going to punch the end of this. With my Pick a Banner punch. Whoa! Which I threw rather than sticking back in its slot. Oh. Okay. And I actually think this would also make a really nice wedding card for somebody who got married in, in a winter wedding. So I'm going to put a few dimensionals on here and then pop this whole thing up. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? And then that one pops off, and you could put a snowflake in here too, and that would be nice. This is also the perfect layout if you wanted to put a family photo for your Christmas cards. You could put that right on the inside, and then you could write, on the flaps. That's where you could do your writing, because that would all be hidden. So I think that's kind of a fun one too. All right, our third and final layout is a really simple one. It is one that you'll either love or hate, but I kind of loved it, and I hope you're gonna like my samples with it. And it's really simple. We're gonna take our half sheet of cardstock once again, and then you just needed a 3 3/4 by 5-inch piece of DSP, and I cut that on the diagonal and then on another diagonal. Okay. And then what we're going to do is kind of separate them out a little bit. And then you can add a sentiment on here. You can pop a sentiment up. You can do whatever you want. So it's kind of just a fun, silly design. Okay. But I've got some really cute examples of this, or at least I think I do. I'm laughing because my husband just got home from bringing my son something for practice, and Whitney's telling him the good news that our barf cleanup just hasn't quite finished yet. Okay, so there we go. All right. This is September 2020 live number 1 card 3. A half a sheet of cardstock, 3 3/4 by 5 DSP. So really simple. Now the beauty of this is it shows off kind of a big pattern really nicely. So like the paper we just used on that last card would be good for this. So my first one I did with this is from the Halloween DSP, and I just heat embossed the Cheers to You. This is actually from the Whiskey Business stamp set, but those skinny words will fit great in here, and we've got several sets that have like lots of those words. For my next card, you can see I've got a white base to use my done called the whale paper. And I have taken and cut a real skinny little layer of whales. Oh my goodness, why is this causing me so many troubles today? It is just the day I'm having. And we'll adhere that. I love the colors here. Okay, I've got my piece of DSP. I wanted to show you how I cut it. And you can, you really can do this kind of however you want, but you want to cut it the top. You're going to cut the, and there. It's about the angle you want. It doesn't have to be perfect. There you can see. It doesn't really have to be perfect, but I'm actually I want it to be a little wider here because I want my sentiment to fit right there. Okay, so there's one cut. Then you kind of put your cardstock back. This is sort of like we did one a little bit like this not too long ago. So we put our cardstock kind of back together. If you need to, you can use a Post-it to hold it in place. And then I'm going to cut it once again. And this time, again, I want to make sure that I just get it at an angle. Okay, and then those are my 4 pieces. And the nice thing about this is kind of every time you do it, you get a little different look. Okay, and so you're just going to leave the separation between the paper a little bit, like so. Now, I want to have my sentiment fit right here. And so I want to stamp it right there, which means I need this piece to be a little bit shorter. So I'm actually going to cut, to make that fit, I'm going to cut just a little bit off the top. Okay, so this is my top piece, and I'm going to cut about, a 1/2 inch. Okay. And then when I do that, I should have enough room. Oh yeah, plenty of room. So that I can adhere, or I can stamp that sentiment on here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment first to make sure I get it where I want it, because then I can adjust the placement of my cardstock a little bit, and if I were to need to, I could trim it as well. Now the other thing is I want to really this to show up nicely, because I'm stamping it on DSP. I'm going to just kind of let it go for a minute, and now it's on there really good. Now I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to pop them up because I think that will look kind of fun. Okay, so this will take a few dimensionals. And I recommend leaving 2 in place, adhering to, and then putting the other 2 in place. That way you can get them all back in the right orientation, because this is a little bit like a funky puzzle, and it can be a little challenging to get those back together if you flip too many pieces at once. Okay, so this is kind of fun, and this is a great way to use that paper that's kind of got an all over pattern, so that you can kind of enjoy the whole pattern, you know. And there you go. Isn't that fun? All right, on my last card, I've got what I think is a very beautiful one. Oops. I'm going to start with a purple posy card base. I probably should close some of these ink pads up. I've got several open here. Okay, just one more. It's from like 4 cards ago. It's all good. Okay, I've got a card base, like I said, that's purple posy, and sure didn't fold it straight though. Yikes. That's what the bone folders are good for. Really helps to fold it correctly the first time though, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so I've got this piece of DSP, which is just so beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? And I'm gonna take and cut this. Now I really want, let's see, my first cut I'm going to make kind of skinny. So there's a big hunk on this side. Okay. So kind of skinny cut. And then my second cut, just want to make sure my paper is lined up. There we go. Like that. Okay. So you can still see that whole design. So pretty. Okay. And then I'm going to adhere this down. Like so. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let me get this one back on a little bit better. A little bit better evenly spaced, you know, so they're, you'll see what I mean here in a second. So that the lines are a little bit more even. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Now I'm using the stamp set Peace and Joy and the dies. So I die cut Peace from the dies, which is the one that's got bright joy and peace in it. And I did this out of the purple posy and then this out of silver foil. So we'll go ahead and use our liquid glue and sponge technique to put this on. So I'm just gonna kind of even out this glue, and then we'll ink or glue up the back of this piece and then adhere it to the layered piece, which I love. And by piece, I mean piece of paper, not the word piece, but in this case, it both work. But the layered panel is just a little bit bigger. And then there's actually a third one that's even bigger than that. But isn't that cool? I love how those go together. All right. And then we will take and layer this on. And, you know, originally I was going to do it at an angle, but now I kind of feel like I want to put it on like this. So the other thing that I'm going to do, and I'm kicking myself because I didn't do this already, is, at least I hope I can, is I want to die cut this to pop it up. So I'm going to take the same die as the purple posy layer. I'm going to die cut it out of my foam adhesive sheets real quick. Okay, so I'll just take and do that. Okay, and then we'll adhere those together. I'll pop that center out, and then we can pop this up right onto our card like so. And then there's also the little sentiment that's part of the stamp set that says on Earth, so peace on Earth. And I think I'm going to stamp this in some smoky slate cardstock. I just kind of like the idea of a nice neutral. We'll put this on my little scrap here. Oops, I didn't get that on very good. There we go. And I'll trim this out. Like so. Now, I also want to add some, let's see. I also want to add some embellishments to this. Ooh, the piece is too long. Oh, I've got this. Look at this, is really funny. I got a really mangled package of these dots. So Stampin' Up! Sent me new ones, but I can still use the ones that are left on here. So we'll just add a few of these little droplets. These are called Frosted and Clear Epoxy Drops. So I just think they're pretty. Goodness. I'm going to move this one. I don't like that spot. We'll put it, oops, up there. Not right there, but up here. These like to move. Okay, so there's my card. Maybe we need some more on here. I got a whole pack of these, so we could kind of go to town. We'll put one more up there. I don't know if I like that better or not, but anyway, isn't that gorgeous? All right, so let me bring in my cards for you. So let's see. Our first layout, what did I do with that? Ooh, what did I do with that? Well, it's someplace, but we did the weaving. So we have that one, and that one, and that one. And then we did this fun fold, which is really cool. I think this is a double gate fold. So we've got our sunflower, our beautiful poinsettia, and then our beautiful frost paper. And then our third one is kind of this abstract-y one, which I knew you guys not going to be sure about, but then you like the samples. So we did the whale, the Halloween, and then this beautiful piece on Earth. So hope you loved these projects. I will get these photographed and added into an album for you. And if you would like to create your own versions of these cards, please do so and share them in the group. I also have a card challenge posted, so make sure you take a look at that because I will give away prizes. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys for our live number 2, which I believe is next week, but everything is in the announcements post. So have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.